This is eNews Weekend Edition live from Johannesburg. I'm Kolim Gambi. These are your headlines at this hour. A period of national mourning has been declared following the news of the death of Environmental Affairs Minister Edna Molewa. She was 61. The Democratic Alliance gets its elections campaign off the ground. Tackling crime, corruption and illegal immigration are just some of the areas the party is focusing on. We begin here. Edna Molewa, the Minister of Environmental Affairs, has died in a Pretoria hospital aged 61. Let's take a look back at her life.
First time in a decade.
Bomo Edna Molewa was born in Bela Bela, Limpopo on the 23rd of March 1957. She completed her schooling and teacher training at Hebron Training College. Molewa first earned her political stripes in trade unions. She eventually joined the Northwest Legislature. In 2004, she became Premier of that province, a position she held for 5 years. She was also President of the ANC Women's League in the province. In 2009, she was appointed National Minister of Social Development. A year later, during a cabinet reshuffle, she was moved to the Ministry of Water and Environmental Affairs. Molewa served on the ANC's National Executive and Working Committees. She is celebrated for political activism and her environmental campaigning. Just a few months ago, the French bestowed their Legion of Honor on her, mentioning in particular her role in negotiations on climate change. The presidency has described Molewa's passing as a devastating loss for the country. The ANC says the party and the nation will be poorer, given her role in advancing the transformation agenda. Molewa is survived by her husband and 4 children.
At the same time, President Cyril Ramaphosa has ordered a period of national mourning and that flags fly at half-mast at government institutions. Molewa was a long-serving member of the governing African National Congress and served the party in various capacities during her career. As Environmental Affairs Minister, she was lauded for her efforts in protecting nature and shining a spotlight on climate change.
A pioneer, a mother, a dedicated servant of the people. That's how the African National Congress has described the late Environmental Affairs Minister Edna Molewa. As news of her death filtered through, tributes started streaming in. Her cabinet colleague, Aaron Motsoaledi, says Molewa served the country with integrity.
She was one of the rare activists of our country who has gone through the ranks right from during the time of liberation war. She was in the trenches, in the trade union movement. After the unbanning in government, she went through the trenches. I served particularly with her. We were both MECs for agriculture when we were still in provinces. Then she became a premier. So I shared a lot with her. I was very close to her.
ANC spokesperson Pule Mabe says her death leaves them with a great sense of loss.
She was also one who loved education. I mean, she would have encouraged some of us to go and further our own studies, made some of us to take greater interest in environmental issues.
The World Wildlife Fund South Africa has praised her activism.
Okay, thank you.
During her time, we saw so much contribution and awareness of the environment and the challenges that we're experiencing in our country. And of course, we saw the decline of the rhino poaching.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has sent his condolences and has given orders that she be shown the highest respect.
She was a remarkable leader. She served, as premier, as minister in various capacities. She made also an immeasurable contribution to the fight for freedom in this country. Minister Molewa was a champion. I think we all know her, a champion for environmental integrity and the work that she did around climate change. The President has sent his most heartfelt condolences to her family and loved ones. He's also ordered a period of national mourning with immediate effect, and amongst others also directed that the flags be flown at half-mast.
All of you should do so.
Molewa was 61 years old. She died on Saturday after what has been described as a period of illness.
we found...
To other news now, the Democratic Alliance has launched its 2019 election campaign with crime, corruption and illegal immigration just some of the top priorities. DA leader Musi Maimane addressed supporters in Johannesburg today. Maimane has urged people not to allow different cultures or skin color to divide them. He says though our nation has gone through a painful past, he believes diversity is what makes this nation strong. The party also has its sights firmly set on taking Gauteng and has promised to show South Africans genuine leadership.
Our past was a divided yesterday, and I believe because people tried to use these very differences to drive wedges between us. They tried to tell us it's our skin color, it's our language, it's our culture, it's our religions that in fact divide us. They oppressed many, but they couldn't be more wrong. Fellow South Africans, I want to say to you, our diversity is precisely what makes us strong. Our future lies together, and let no person tell you otherwise, for when we are united, we can go forward.
Mineral Resources Minister Gwede Mantashe says mining companies must develop relationships with communities they operate in. Mantashe is intervening in a dispute between the Somkhele coal mine and Mbugunyoni community in northern KwaZulu-Natal. The two sides have been at loggerheads for years now. One of the most contentious issues is the possible relocation of households to enable the mine to expand its operations. Tuba Vilane has that report.
Somkhele is the country's largest anthracite mine, producing more than 550,000 tons of coal a year. Operating since 2007, it's created more than 1,200 permanent jobs for locals and provides business opportunities to local youth.
We wish that whatever issues are there between the community and the mine can be resolved so that everybody wins. The mine can continue to win and make profit, and the community feel that they've been treated very well.
But not everyone is happy. Many residents accuse the company of polluting the environment and say blasting at the mine is responsible for the cracks in their houses. They have approached the KwaZulu-Natal High Court in a bid to stop operations at the mine.
The mining companies must begin to appreciate the fact that it is not a luxury to have a relationship with the community where they mine, because they belong together.
The company is looking to expand its operation, but for that to happen, many people would need to relocate.
The big problem is that we've been here for 10 years and our mine is running out of space, and it means for us to make sure that we don't stop the mine, that the mine can continue to make a benefit to the community. As the Minister said, we need future mining areas. So we have to relocate people, and we have to do it in a sensible manner, as the Minister said, to make sure that when we relocate them, they are better off.
Minister Mantashe says his department will continue working with all interested groups until an agreement is reached. Tuba Vilane, Tuba, KwaZulu-Natal.
To the continent now, and Tanzanian President John Magufuli has confirmed that the captain of an overloaded ferry is in police custody tonight. Magufuli has also ordered that all other operators of the ferry be detained as investigations into the ferry disaster continue. The number of people who've died in that incident has risen to at least 191. The ferry capsized on Thursday just a few meters away from the dock on Lake Victoria. It's believed 400 people were on board, way higher than its official capacity of 100 passengers. In 1996, a ferry disaster on the same lake killed at least 500 people. And in 2012, at least 145 people died in a ferry disaster in Tanzania's semi-autonomous Zanzibar after an overcrowded vessel tipped over. Coming up after the break, quadriplegic and paraplegic facilities in Cape Town are using virtual technology to help with everyday tasks. Welcome back. Now, while virtual assistants may seem like an unnecessary expense to many, to those who can't perform the smallest of tasks without assistance, they are invaluable. Facilities that house quadriplegic and paraplegics in Cape Town are using voice recognition devices to help with everyday tasks. Situsa takes a look.
Voice recognition being used to assist quad and paraplegics with menial tasks.
Alexa, turn on plug.
Okay. Tasks that would otherwise require a nurse or carer.
The project's called the Vocal Project, which stands for the Voice Activated Quality of Life Project. And basically what we've done is we've installed voice activated technology into residential facilities that provide permanent accommodation for quadriplegics and paraplegics. And basically what the technology enables residents to do is to be able to perform daily functions with their voice.
This man's new virtual assistant has given him some independence.
I got injured in 1994. It was 26 years ago almost, when my brother, he played with a gun and he accidentally shot me, and that landed me up in a wheelchair. So I had to rely on other people to move me around, just even to turn around to watch the TV this way or watch through the window that way. Turn on channel 6.
Swartz believes technology has the power to improve the quality of life of the disabled. But at 15,000 Rand a device, it may be a while yet before it becomes accessible to more people. Situsa, Cape Town.
Zimbabwe is appealing for millions as it experiences its worst cholera outbreak in a decade. The latest outbreak has claimed more than 30 lives. The disease has spread beyond the capital, Harare, which is the worst hit with the highest number of reported cases. Now, earlier this month, the government declared a state of emergency and cancelled all public events. Earlier, we spoke to our correspondent in Zimbabwe, Pindai Dube, about the devastating outbreak.
What is happening right now, I can say it's 50-50. The government is trying by all means, especially in the epicenter where it all started in the Glenview and the Budiriro suburbs of Harare where the cholera started. But the deaths have also increased. It's now 33 from the initially 30 to 31. And the government says now it managed to reduce the number of deaths per day. And also, but on the other side, we have sewage still flowing in other parts of Harare, except Glenview and Budiro, where they are concentrating. So we can say it's 50-50 right now.
After the break, we'll have your weather details. And then we meet a restaurant owner who is breaking barriers in the kitchen.
Welcome to the Weather Center. We are going to be seeing isolated to scattered rain and thunderstorms overnight across the central and southeastern areas and parts of the Mpumalanga Highveld areas. And the thunderstorms will persist on Sunday morning for the southeastern areas. And we will be seeing light rain and drizzle for parts of KwaZulu-Natal, eastern Mpumalanga, and the Limpopo escarpment areas. In the afternoon, we are going to see lots of high-level clouds streaming into the western areas, and we will continue to see some thunderstorms over parts of eastern South Africa and also over much of the Free State. Then in the evening, isolated thunderstorms will persist all the way from the northwest down into parts of KwaZulu-Natal and the eastern areas of the Eastern Cape. Now, we are going to have mostly sunny and mild to warm weather on Sunday for the western areas of the Northern Cape. It will be partly cloudy for the eastern sections, rather hot for the northeastern parts of the province. A mostly sunny and pleasantly warm Sunday is forecast for much of the Western Cape interior. It will be mild for Cape Town, peaking at around 20 degrees. Fairly isolated to scattered thunderstorms are forecast across much of the Eastern Cape. Warm for much of the interior, but mild as we go towards the coastal areas. It's going to be pretty unsettled for much of KwaZulu-Natal, Durban, Port Shepstone and Kokstad, all peaking at around 25 degrees. We are going to see rain and thunderstorms over parts of the Mpumalanga province, Mbombela, warming to around 26 degrees on Sunday afternoon. Drizzly conditions are forecast around Sanin, where a high of 28 is expected. Dry for Polokwane, warming to 26 degrees. It's going to be mostly sunny and hot for much of the northwest, with a chance of thundershows in the late afternoon hours for the western areas. Isolated thundershows are forecast across the Free State Welcome, warming to around 31 degrees. Gauteng will be mostly sunny and pretty warm, with Pretoria hitting the 30-degree mark on Sunday afternoon. Now, looking ahead to your Monday, we are going to stay with thundershows over the eastern areas of the Northern Cape, extending into parts of KwaZulu-Natal. Light rain can be expected for parts of the East Coast. It will be mostly sunny for the western areas and over northeastern South Africa. Then on Tuesday, cloud and rainy weather sets in over the West Coast. Thundershows will persist over the central areas and also over parts of the Eastern Cape.
Finally, so what do you get when you mix traditional food and cultural experience? Well, the answer is simple. The roving Bantu kitchen in Johannesburg. Owner Sifiso Ntuli was born in Mpumalanga, grew up in Soweto and travelled the rest of Africa as a political exile, experiencing many cultures.
The roving Bantu kitchen is a small dynamic community spot with live music that captures the soul of Johannesburg. Ntuli's specialities are inspired by a variety of Pan-African dishes, which include tripe, sheep's head and flat breads. But this food is not prepared the regular way.
The way Sifiso looks at food, rather, it's, you know, it's make it funky. Make it funky, let it have taste. Doesn't have to be just...
Ntuli says he wants to break barriers by making his kitchen, social space and conversations about history accessible and desirable to everyone. The restaurant's red room is covered with old newspaper headlines, vintage ornaments and small tables pressed against each other. The room is often filled with people from all walks of life, and Ntuli wants his decor to spark conversations between them.
Most places that you go to are, white and limited, conservative. They're doing conservative things that's the kind of culture that we want to get past. So this is more interesting. There's a lot of dynamics running through here, a lot of interesting people.
The roving Bantu kitchen is located in Brixton, a mainstay of white oppression during apartheid. It's now transforming into a bridge of the historical divide between races, the rich and the poor.
Let's recap your main stories. A period of national mourning has been declared following the news of the death of Environmental Affairs Minister Edna Molewa. She was 61. The Democratic Alliance gets its elections campaign off the ground, tackling crime, corruption and illegal immigration. These are just some of the areas the party is focusing on. And from me and the team, it's good night.